yeah. So, right. The crazy thing for me is like looking at what happened with Parler and the cattle rights, and looking at how like politicians handled that and how the tech companies handled that, and fast forwarding and looking at Robinhood, which I think is just like Parler 2.0
That was so
situation.
Mm-hmm.
sus.
Like it was so slimy. It was just like, mm, like I was impacted. I couldn't buy Ethereum. I couldn't buy crypto at all on Robinhood. Like when
That's
all
the
that had
crazy
happened.
part. And the thing is,
Oh,
it's like, oh, go
they
ahead.
stopped crypto?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, what?
right. Like the whole point is it's not supposed to be controlled by a centralized entity. I'm like, what the hell? And here's the crazy thing. After that,
Whoa.
within a week, I saw people back on the platform. Like, y'all don't get it,
There's no competition.
but
Like,
there is.
not really.
Binance is the biggest crypto platform out there. Robinhood, I mean, it is the prettiest, and I like the little confetti. I'm not even gonna front. I do look at it just to check the current price, but I don't have a single cent in
Right.
there. TD Ameritrade or die.
Yeah. For me it was like, so I still have my Robinhood account because like I need to transfer my funds over to
Yeah, get out that
like TD
shit.
Ameritrade. Yeah. But like,
Get out of it.
yeah, I mean it was just fucked up because one, I saw like, so I've been day trading like off and on for the past like 3 or 4 years. So like I get like the psychology of the market, especially like looking at GameStop, which essentially was just a viral stock, it was a meme stock, literally.
Did you see? It happened again today, bro. It happened again
It
today.
did.
Yeah,
It
GameStop
did.
sucks.
It did. Yeah.
And then it dropped
It's crazy.
$115 within
Yeah.
15 minutes. And I'm like, y'all really just got burned twice? And Robinhood stopped trading again on it again? Twice? I'm just like, we already learned this lesson a month ago. Why are we doing this again?
Yeah, get out of it.
Right. I saw a headline saying like it was mostly institutional money that came in this time around, but you never know. Like,
Just memes, bro. No due diligence, just vibes.
Yeah.
right. What was it that dude said? Roaring kittens.
Roaring
Like the
kitty.
stock.
Yeah, roaring kitty. Yeah.
Say I like the stock.
It's like, all right, let's go. Roll those dice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like,
excuse me, sir. This is a casino.
no, hedge funds are casinos too. I mean, they're
100%.
just. It's all big Vegas. America is a big Vegas.
100%. I mean, they're already crazy rich. Like, well, I mean, all of my normal, like index funds already have millions in there. Let's just see what these hedge funds can do. Which I got.
Yeah.
Let's play
Right,
some
right.
futures, and maybe they'll mess up and end up sending, 2 tons of corn to my address. But let's play the game.
That's the thing about it, is that like, people often talk about market makers, like in like the stock market. Hedge funds are market makers. Like they're pumping like hundreds of millions to billions of dollars in the market. Like, and especially for a company that doesn't have that many like, like investors in it, right? Like a company like GameStop, when like they before the pop, they were in like, was like $30 or something like that, like 19. I don't know. Something was
It was
crazy.
like five.
It was like
$5.
5.
Yeah.
It was 5. Yeah.
Like 5 to
Yeah.
7. It was
Even
literally
worse.
nothing. Then it's like, oh, let's go around 300-400 for what?
Yeah.
Memes.
Right. Just cause. And so like, and it went there. And that's the thing, is like, but like, now that was like the effort of like hundreds of thousands of people like getting in and putting their money in that stock that they don't know anything about. But like, think about hedge funds, that they do that all the time, right? Like,
They
it's
do.
just
We know
one
just
or
as
two,
much as them. They're just
and it's doing it. Yeah.
Like, do you guys know Bill Ackman? Like, he's like a
Yeah.
hedge fund guy. Yeah. I mean, like he goes, like he has like a position. He goes on all these like shows like CNBC and whatever, just to like talk about his position. Like, how's that different than a meme?
I don't get why he's even
exactly.
allowed to
Yeah.
talk about his position. He should not be able to.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like that's their whole like business is like they do whatever fundamental analysis, technical analysis, you know, and then like they determine what position they're going to take, whether it's long or short, and then they put money behind the marketing of supporting their position. So like, you know, to your point, Bill Ackman or you know whoever, there's a gnat flying around, or whoever, they will like go on these talk shows and say, you know, we're putting X amount of money, or I don't know if they mention the amount of money because I don't watch that for one thing. But you know they'll say like, you know, we have this position, we're long or whatever, and here are the reasons why, which I get because like, you know, now we're getting insight into like their investor logic. But then the other thing about that is like, it's to your point, it's marketing. It's like, you know, they're just putting money and then trying to like pump it up, which I get because that's ultimately what the market is just mass psychology, right? Yeah, like is that fine? Is that okay? I don't know, but like I think it's okay if people like you and I and like the layperson can like do the same thing online, right? If not, then like, all right, that's kind of messed up that they can talk about, you know, their position and like do analysis and talk about it publicly in the eyes of millions of viewers on TV and online, but we can't do the same thing in like the Reddit forum. You know, I think that's not fair because the thing is that like what had happened with the Robinhood investment in GameStop and AMC was that hedge funds had been doing that, but you know it was a problem when their pockets started to hurt because you know the individual people, individual investors, retail investors, they knew that there was a short position on GameStop, and they just went against that. And so, you know,
there was a meme that explained it perfectly.
Say what?
There was a meme that explained it perfectly. It was like, it went from, okay, you use this $600 responsibly and invest. Oh, wait, not like that. It's just like...
Right. Exactly. It's like, how can you dictate like how I use my money? And like, the fact is that they've been doing this and we can't. And like now it's the issue. Now there's talks of regulation like preventing the talk about stocks online. Like that's an issue. It's a big issue because like that just further isolates, you know, the wealth distribution really.
Well, I mean that is their goal. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, and it's also shown how we can't rely on, like, we kind of, I feel like people who have like invested in Robinhood, they just kind of assume that Robinhood was never going to go offline, but like all these like platforms that we use, we have to like kind of look at it with a critical eye. Like at any point, Robinhood could just literally fuck with your money. You know, like literally lose you money. So you gotta like we gotta like look at all our like these, like the internet can go down and like all shit is lost. You know, like these things can happen. So any kind of platform, like we have to look at it with a critical eye.
True, because what if, you know, Robinhood CEO gets beef with Bezos? All right, I'm shutting you down.
Like shit, you know? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the whole Robinhood situation is interesting because like. One, it's, you know, there was a question of what really happened, right? Like, was it that the fact that these hedge funds were getting hurt, or was it like a problem with liquidity? Because Robinhood allows you to trade on margins, which, you know, I think they should have limits to that if they're going to shut down the trading of a stock because they'll be illiquid, which I think is the reason why they halted trading of Robinhood stocks. I mean, of GameStop and AMC and all these meme stocks that people were going in hard on. But like, I think that's okay. But the second thing is like, it's also not okay because like, that's a part of like your business model. So like, if your business model doesn't factor in this possibility, and you shut things down without effectively articulating that as it's happening, even like shortly after it happened, then like that's the issue. That's why folks were like mad at Robinhood because they're like, what happened? Like, why you stopped the trading of this stock, right? Like, I don't get it. Of course, like the stock market itself has like circuit breakers where like, all trading halts like by default. But yeah, I think Robinhood really fucked up in not articulating that because it was contradictory to their name. At least from the public's view of like, well, your whole purpose is to decentralize, decentralize access into the stock market. But
Yeah, democratize access. Yeah.
Democratizing it, yeah, not decentralized. Yes, democratized access, but like you're not doing that. And like for me personally, again, like it was messed up because they stopped crypto. And like, what did crypto have to do with this, right? Like for me, I remember Elon had tweeted about Dogecoin, like the first tweet that started the initial pop up, and I was on my Robinhood and I was buying Doge, and I was like, let me decrease my position. Wait, let me increase my position. I wanted to increase my position, but I couldn't get in. So like,
What got me about that is Elon never put any money in there. I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, like in general, it's like we were talking about Bill Ackman. Like, okay, we've got Elon, like all of these, like, big name figures. These are not financial advisors. It's like Elon never even had any money in Doge. Like, it was so funny when he announced that. I was like, because in my head, I was like, there's no way. Like, he's just talking because he's a memester. Like, this guy,
right.
He isn't. I know he's not. And then he announced it, and I was like, I called it. And I was just like, no, it's literally just trying to chase the wave. And people get burned every single time when they try to chase.
Yeah, the little guy always gets burned. Like, whenever somebody with a lot of power is talking about something, it's always good to think critically about it.
It's always too late.
Because they're not trying to help you most of the time.
Because like the product adoption curve, like that normally, it usually lines up with the markets too. It's like, okay, it's like you've got your innovators, your early adopters, the early majority, late majority, and everyone else. It's like, if you're not the early adopter or innovator, it's too late. If you heard about it from somewhere else, that's not like, like a primary, like, oh, we're doing like this primary information. It's too late. And I feel like people overestimate where they are on that curve. It's like, oh, I'm in the early. Like, no, you're actually in the late majority. You've got about 3 days before you lose everything.
Right, right. And for me, that was a scary thing, like seeing the whole GameStop fad like happen like in real time, because I'm like, these people are just now getting in, and like,
they're gonna get burned.
Like I went in on the Reddit forums and Discord, and folks are like, diamond hands, keep holding, hold the line, and I'm just like, y'all don't know what you're doing. Like, just because everybody's like spamming like diamond hands, GME, like on Reddit, on YouTube, wherever, like doesn't mean like it's gonna hold. Like,
now it's funny they ended up being right this time, but that doesn't normally work.
Right, exactly. Like, again, the early adopters and the catching of the wave, like that's what brought the stock up so high. But that can only last for so long, because like if you got in, you made a nice profit off that, you're going to take your profits, right? So like when you're taking your profits, you're selling your stock, driving the price down. So folks bought at the peak, and they sold at the dip.
Dude, diamond hands, it's great for the early adopters. Like, yes, please keep saying diamond hands so I can sell my position, and F y'all, like I'm out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
People will learn one day, or they won't. Probably not, but I like to hope.
Yeah.
I hope so. I just wish that, like, looking again at censorship, that this doesn't happen more. Like it's it's one thing to censor like hate speech, but it's like one thing to censor where you can place your money and what you can buy, right? Like, it's the public markets. You should be able to buy shares in a company, like given the mutual transaction, because there's buyer and seller on both sides. And so if you're stopping that and you're manipulating what that market looks like and how it behaves, which would impact the company and also the investors themselves, and like that's pretty bad, right? Because like you can just restrict people at will of like, oh, you can't buy this stock. Because like
Well, did you read
for
those
Robinhood,
terms
they
and
did that a couple of
conditions?
times. When GME like went again for the second wave, they were like, can't buy again. But yeah, T, what were we saying?
They're gonna hit you. Did you read those terms and conditions?
Yeah.
Right.
But that's
Yeah.
that's not.
I personally think it's just going to happen more and more. There's only more applications being built for all kinds of stuff. So this censorship problem is going to happen more and more. And unfortunately, the laws are not going to catch up. They're not like, what about like, I'm always thinking about like self-driving cars. How are we going to regulate that shit? There's like actual lives at stake there. So like the law is not going to catch up. So what do you guys think that like normal people like us, like normal private citizens like us should be doing about all this? Like how should we be careful, or what should we have in mind?
For the regulation or for the censorship? I didn't
No,
quite.
just for like censorship, how we interact with these applications. What advice would you give to regular citizens so like the Robinhood thing does not happen to you? Like what would you recommend?
We need to bring back boycotts because people were very outraged, but they didn't leave. So, I mean, any like company that large can take PR like that's bad. It's like, okay, oh, they're mad at me for like a week and a half. They'll forget because that's what always happens, and they're still using it and putting money on there. And then we'll just do it again. You'll forget again. It's like the only way is to actually hurt them in their pockets the same way that they're censoring the other companies. You have to cut them off at their source. So it's like, okay, fine. I'll transfer every single penny I have. Have fun.
Right. Right. And I feel like that's really hard in this day and age. Well, not this day and age, but it's really hard for the companies that we have in mind, right? So like if we're looking at social media platforms and like let's say, Twitter, Facebook, Google, whoever, like they mess up bad, like bad.
Yeah, at that scale, I don't know.
Yeah, there is a boycott happening, but like they're like they literally have billions of users. And so like you would need a significant percentage of those users in order to actually have an effect. And the thing about these companies that like they have multiple streams of revenue. So
yeah,
trying to figure out one thing in order to like kind of like have that influence and like essentially like like punish them for fucking up is really hard. But I mean,
yeah, when I said that, I had Robinhood in mind. Something at that scale, like a Facebook, a Twitter, a Google, beats me. I think they're beyond.
That's why I think the major problem in the tech industry is lack of competition. You just need more competition. Like if I leave Twitter, where do I fucking go? Like there's no Twitter alternative. No one is on. If there is a Twitter alternative, there's no one actually on the fucking Twitter alternative. And what's the point? What's the point at that point? If there needs to be like I feel like there's like a critical mass. I don't know if I'm using this term correctly, but critical mass where you need enough people on there for that social media to be relevant socially.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys, but let's build the next like the Instagram like competition. Let's build the Twitter competition. Like somebody out there, please build some competition. Like let's get people off like let's get people having like multiple options of social media.
Okay, I have this idea. Revolution. Imagine a platform. It's like rooms and it's audio only. What can we call it? Like like rooms just for your friends.
Yo, I got it.
Yeah.
Clubhouse.
Huh. Like a clubhouse. Just you and the homies. Yeah. Yeah. Clubhouse is kind of trash these days, not even gonna lie.
The Clubhouse is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I like
haven't been on
Clubhouse
it in a minute lately, but yeah, it's I've made a lot of connections on it. Like it's kind of insane. But
I gotta just change who I follow because I really follow like a lot of VC people, but I think
mm,
I don't know. There are like at least 5 people in my feed that are just in some tomfoolery rooms. I'm like, I don't
yeah,
care about this, and they're just talking about the same 4 arguments, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. It's kind of like certain parts of
right,
Twitter. Like, let me get really focused in my little niche.
right. Yeah, that's the thing about Clubhouse. It's like you really have to be mindful of who you follow because like yeah, that'll dictate your experience. Yeah, like you, I just follow a ton of folks in VC and tech, and um, yeah, it's like prominent folks that are actually doing things. But yeah,
But they
it's
say
cool
the
though.
same
Like
shit over and over again.
They do.
Like the
I'm
prominent
over
folks,
it.
they recycle what they say. Like when I was in college, I would like go to these talks of like politicians or like just like movers and shakers. And there are times where I went to like a different talk by the same person twice, and literally they would say the same shit. So at this
yeah,
point, I'm like all like, yeah,
It's like I get this
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
already.
listen to these people anymore. Yeah.
It's like you can only do so much research because like at this point I'll be having these conversations with people like or just reach out to people I'll be having. It's like, wow, I literally know this already, even though like I that's it. Like I know all the things for this particular thing. Like give me something new.
right, right. And that's the thing. It's like it's frustrating because well, one, it's kind of like it's kind of like their thing, right? Because like they
That's
have an
their
agenda, and
brand.
so they're like,
Mm-hmm.
right, right. So they're trying to like give this like presentation. It's like a comedian, right? Like they have their own
Literal routine.
bits that they'll like literally repeat as they're doing their comedy tour, right? And
Yeah.
so it's like they're trying to have this the same impact on every audience that they go to. So same thing with like prominent figureheads and politicians. I mean, like even Elon Musk, like he will say the same shit like over and over. But the thing about it is that like it's all about asking the right questions. So like you get a different answer.
Which
So like for example,
people can't
when he was
do.
on
It
Clubhouse,
was awful.
the interviewer like just asked him very basic questions, and
He
so
asked
he just
about
gave him very
memes.
standard responses.
Boring.
Yeah, and it's like I've literally heard Elon say this like
Mm-hmm.
thousands of times because I look at so many fucking Elon Musk interviews because I find him so fascinating, right? But I think the thing about Clubhouse I like is that that it's more interactive. You can actually like reach out and communicate with some of these people if given the chance. But
Mm-hmm.
when you get the chance, that's your opportunity to ask something different and not just like
Mm-hmm.
fan out about oh Elon, like it's so great to meet you. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
and they
me.
were asking
I've
about
been such a
memes,
fan.
dude. Like why? Like why? You got like one of the
Yeah,
smarter people on the planet. Just touching
Yeah.
so many cool things. And you want to talk to him about Dogecoin? I'm like, dude, I I want some updates on the boring tunnels in LA. Like, what's that gonna do? What's cost savings?
right,
When's it gonna be to
Mm-hmm.
more cities so we can finally cut down on all this pollution, like just from sitting idly in cars and shit?
right,
Yeah, like you want to hear like new info from the person or like different info. Like I think like one of the Clubhouse like interviews I enjoyed was Lindsay Lohan talking about crypto
Oh, I
because
missed that
that's
one.
like not that's not something that like she's talking about like artists and crypto and stuff, and that's not something that she's like known for talking about. So I
Yeah,
thought that was interesting. Like if Elon Musk talked about like women's rights, like that would probably be interesting,
that would be say, oh,
but like but like Elon Musk talking about like whatever like memes and stocks, like I literally could like rather fall asleep.
right. Because you kind of know what to expect. I mean, because he
Yeah.
makes it clear like what his intent is. Like, he is a memester. Like he doesn't take a lot of that stuff serious. I mean, he knows what it is, and like he definitely has perspectives. But like, I think people get so wrapped up in like the superficial things that
Mhm.
folks like Elon give
yeah,
for us to chew on because it's just like, oh, well, that's the latest thing that we heard from him. But like, obviously,
Mhm.
there's so much more. Like Terrence, like, what is he doing with the Boring Company?
Yeah, like
SpaceX
that's like new
launching a
info. Yeah.
rocket and then bringing it back to Earth to like have a new form of transportation.
yeah.
like,
Explain
like
about
what, like
that.
what are the statuses on those things? What is your take on like carbon capturing and like the X Prize reward competition that you like, contributed to. Like what, we need to have bigger conversations beyond the superficial stuff. But I think
I
I
like
think
what you just
it's
said about
hard
the whole
for
taking
folks
off
to
and
have
landing.
like say what?
I like what you just said about the taking off and landing, like as a new form of transportation. It's like, okay, just don't account for the angle of the Earth's rotation, go straight up in Miami and just land in LA, just come right down. That'd be so cool. I'd pay for that. I mean, I can't
Right,
afford it, but
right.
I would theoretically pay for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's literally what SpaceX is building. Like the rockets that we've seen,
Yeah.
like the I forget what they call it, the Starship. Yeah, the Starship rocket.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're doing exactly that, where it's vertical takeoff, flies one part, and then like it vertically lands, and then you get to the other side of the planet in like an hour or two,
That'd
and
be
like it'll
so dope.
cost like a fraction of what it would normally cost if you took an airplane, which is that's like the
Like
goal,
later, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Of course, initially it'll be pretty expensive, but yeah.
So what did Lindsay Lohan say about crypto? That's like I would have never expected. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, no, she was talking about NFTs.
Okay.
Yeah, non-fungible, and how like
Everybody's
with
on
art, it was
NFTs right now.
yeah, with like the art industry and stuff like that.
What I want
Because
is
she's
like a.
actually involved.
Is
Yeah.
she?
Yeah. So Lindsay Lohan was actually like really interested in that topic and like really wanted to talk about it. Who freaking knew?
That's okay.
Wow.
That's cool right there. Is there a way? Does anyone have like a great way to display your NFTs? Because like look at Jordan like in his background, cool art on the wall. I want my NFTs on my wall. How you do that, Angela? I feel like you'd be knowing.
Me? No, to be honest, I have avoided the NFT thing because like I get it. It's it's interesting in some cases, but I don't know. I'm a contrarian sometimes, so like
Mm-hmm.
when there's like a fad or like just massive excitement around something, I kind of go the opposite way, like because I get it at a high level, right?
It's gonna be big in time.
I,
Not yet. It's
I
gonna be like QR codes when they first came out. They're just like they were a big thing. No one knew what to do. Now that we finally figured it out, like 10 years later, like it's gonna be a thing.
right, right, exactly. Oh, it's like one or two use cases where I would use a QR code, but like
Yeah.
most of the time people don't use QR codes. But yeah, I mean, my thing with NFTs is that like it's not a new idea. It's not a new thing. Like it's been around since like cryptocurrencies have been around. Since
Yeah.
They're
blockchain's been around. So like what was it? I think it was like crypto cats or something like that. Like little
Crypto
tradable
kitties.
crypto images, which were kind of like trading cards, but just digital. Like that was kind of like the first crack at it. And like I understood it because like so a couple years back I was really interested in cryptocurrency and blockchain and different applications and things like that. And yeah, I think looking at NFTs now, I'm wondering what the fuck made it pop like now, because like it has been a thing in the
Logan Paul.
I
yeah,
think it's the popular culture. It's like Lindsay Lohan. It's like the popular culture.
right.
People are getting behind
Yeah,
it.
Lindsay Lohan, Logan Paul, they spoke.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. It's part of popular culture now. It's not part of just like this like small insular tech community. You
yeah.
know.
Some
Yeah.
tweets
I
would have
don't know.
sold very
I
well
feel like
if they
it
weren't
could
deleted.
be like a bubble, like depending on like
Mhm.
the asset. Like it's kind of scary. It's kind of like GameStop again, but just like now it's digital art.
Dude,
It's just kind
everything's
of
a
crazy.
bubble. Let's be real. Like, have you been seeing these tech stock valuations? They're dumb, but it's like,
Oh,
we're
absolutely,
just doing a
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, like a higher valuation means more money for me. Yeah, fuck it. But like, I don't know. It's one thing. It's one thing for me when it's like, um, yeah, we have 10 minutes. But for me, like, it's one thing when it hits like the end consumer, like the
Mhm.
regular person.
Mm.
Like if somebody buys an NFT and they're expecting, like, they buy $1,000 worth of NFTs or one NFT worth $1,000, and like they're expecting to resell it and make money, and like and they don't, then like that's for me like my biggest concern about it is like people trying to get rich quick because like it's just
Yeah. The get rich quick vibe is usually not
It
a good
always
vibe.
fails. Like the only way to get rich
Yeah.
quick is by accident. Like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, getting rich quick is literally like you buy a lottery ticket and then you got rich real quick. You know, like
It's like,
because
oh,
you
cool.
got the ticket. Yeah, it's by accident. But I actually think like looking forward, just like with like future things in tech, I would look to countries like China and India. There's a lot of tech stuff going on there, and there's like billions of people in those countries.
So many users.
Like a lot of tech is about like user adoption. So like I would look to like what trends are going on, and they have like really educated labor in those countries too that can build these applications, build the technology. So I would look into China and India too for other things that are coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. And also surprisingly, Nigeria, like specifically, their tech scene has been popping for fintech. Like the last 2 years has been great for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, fintech in Africa is really big.
In India,
apparently,
because crypto is not legal in India right now. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, yeah, I mean, like even for me, like one of the regions outside of the U.S. I find fascinating is China. Just given like every point you hit, Angela, like even when you're looking at things that are relatively new here, like electric vehicles, like
streaming.
Like streaming, right? Like electric vehicles, like China has like huge like
they do.
And same with like climate tech. Like China is like leading that.
They have their weather machines and they're good.
It's like and then it's cool. It's cool because obviously China is like number one, number two polluter on the planet, and yet like they're leading the effort in terms of like the amount of impact they're having in terms of trying to reduce their emissions, and it's just a huge country. Like it's huge, and so it's like that's so fascinating because like America is like a fraction of the size, but yet we're like emitting like the same, if not a little bit more, in emissions than them, but yet the home of innovation in Silicon Valley and whatever, like we're still behind in terms of like making progress when it comes to like climate tech and solar tech and electric vehicles. Like it just makes me wonder, like I don't know,
even like, old school consumer tech, we're not number one there anymore. Like look at like simple things like TikTok. They're winning social media. They've got the users. They've got the best algorithm out. It's like we're not the center of tech anymore. It's just that whole American-centered mindset.
And Chinese people are really like quick on adopting technology too. So any new shit, like they're like on it. Like everyone has a smartphone. Like you go out into remote villages in China, rice farms or whatever farms. Like everyone has their little smartphones. Everyone's on WeChat. Like they're really quick to adopt new technologies. They're really open-minded about the new technologies. And so China's just also like a really social place. So anything social media will catch fire really quickly there too.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna have to move to China.
Yeah. New Silicon Valley in China.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not that bold.
Yeah.
Dope. We have 5 minutes left. This is the bonus round with the IQ crew here, talking on a Wednesday night. Yeah, no, this is really cool. Yeah, I think we should definitely like continue to have like I guess like follow-up conversations, bonus conversations. Like if the vibe is right, if we got more shit to talk about, and we just want to hang out, then
I mean we're just hanging out, talking to our friends.
Second recording and
see what happens.
Right, exactly. Yeah. See what pops up. Maybe we get an idea for the next conversation. Maybe we talk about NFTs in the next conversation.
Maybe we'll see whatever comes up in the week. Whatever comes up in the week.
Right.
Hey, Jordan, want to give
Oh
us our
man.
outro before it just randomly cuts off on us?
Oh yeah, we got like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. All right. Oh wait, real quick.
What's up?
I need a
Okay, I'm gonna call this the
we
outro
need,
real quick.
we need a
Conversation's basically
photo.
over. We're still in the live, so I'm just gonna say, "Hey, this